All right, here we go. Oh,
Okay.
I thought you was finna say something to me.
Oh, no, I was just saying, can you hear me good? Like, am I where I'm at?
I'm good.
Am I good? That's better. Yeah,
There you go.
that's way better. Okay, we're good.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Square Business. My name is Rodney Sorrell. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Got my guy with me here.
Hey, Curtis Adams, how y'all feeling today?
And we got a special guest in the building. Her name is Sydney Shrewsberry. She is a readjustment counseling therapist in the Beckley area. How you doing today?
I'm good. Good.
So can you tell us what a readjustment counseling therapist does and who do you serve?
Yes, a readjustment counseling therapist is for veterans, the veteran population, and it's to readjust veterans back to civilian life after getting out of the military.
Okay. What is readjustment in the context of military service?
What is readjustment? It's basically like just getting readjusted to the civilian life and the differences in, the military life to civilian life, because it's two different,
Right.
lifestyles. So that's what, just getting them used to being back with their families and their kids, and then just coming back and just going to the grocery store is just so much different than what they're used to. You know what I mean?
The simplest of things
Yes.
that are very complex for them. I
Yes,
would think.
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, I'm about to say in that, do you serve like just one particular group, or do you serve like veterans of all ages? Like, we have Vietnam era, you have
Right.
the Iraq War era. Like, do you just serve just particular Vietnam, or is it different groups all the way around?
It's all the way around, all groups. But majority of mine is Vietnam, but we do all groups. Female, male, OEF, OIF, Vietnam, all above.
Yeah, and I'm about to say I like that you specify women veterans in that one, because
Yes.
I think for a lot of people they don't understand that just as much as the men, women veterans are a significant part of our military experience, and we're not just talking about like nurses or healthcare,
Right.
but actual combat veterans when it comes to women vets. So
Right.
that's an amazing thing to kind of be working on.
So
Yeah.
y'all know better than me. What is OEF? And I forget, what was that other one that you mentioned?
OIF.
OIF.
It's Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Okay, I've heard of
So
Operation
it's two
Iraqi
different. Can you explain it better? Two different kind of like
I mean, it's like two different eras and two different missions.
missions.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you have
Okay.
you have those that kind of served like during the initial phase of it, and then those that served, if I'm doing this correctly, maybe somebody in the comments can kind of explain that a little bit further. But it's those who served after the initial push.
Right.
So you have two, even though they serve similar time frames, so to speak.
Right.
They have way different experiences on what freedom in the sense looks like.
Right. And it's all about like the Iraq and Afghanistan era, I think, too. And then you have your Desert Storm era, which is, I think, like more 90s.
It's 90s,
Yeah.
like early 90s
Yeah.
era.
It's really confusing to learn it all. A lot of people we don't know. We
Yeah.
haven't learned about it, so it's interesting.
And they are, you can tell, like, people are specific and proud of their particular
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely.
group. Like, you can't get OEF mixed up with OIF.
Right.
You can't get them mixed up with Desert Storm.
Yeah.
And even just a branch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could say, how's it feel like? Is there a difference in how you have to approach each and every branch?
That's a good one, because that is talked about all the time, and they actually it's kind of like military thing they do. They make fun of each other, like Army, Marine, but there is a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell a Marine when they walk in the door. That's just my opinion. They're built different, and I'm not saying one's better than the other. Absolutely not. They're just different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So do they embrace the stereotypes that you usually hear?
Oh yeah.
Like jokingly?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And they do it to each other. And some of the
Okay.
stuff, if like as somebody who's never been in the service, I'm like, oh my gosh, this could be really offensive, but they're just so used to it. Like they all make fun of the Air Force and how they're like
Yeah, I figured
weaker or whatever. But I think they're just picking. It takes all of them. You know what I mean? And that's what I've told them. So because some of them may get a little agitated, and I'm like, it took every one of you all to complete whatever you had to complete,
that. Right.
whether they're in the sky,
Right.
boots on the ground.
Well, I think that's a common misconception about military services.
Yeah.
You always hear that, go Air Force. You probably won't ever see combat, but I've talk with ex-Marines that talked about, missions that they were on, that it might have been them,
Right.
a couple Navy guys, a couple Air Force guys, and
Oh,
they
for
were all
sure.
together, one unit on a mission.
Right. Yeah. It takes everyone, Air Force watches out too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm laughing a little bit because we talk about the stereotypes and stuff like that, right? But I guess along that question, you talk about as a person that's never served myself, when you're in there giving that care to those veterans, and I'm just gonna say this as plainly as I can, being a woman counselor. I guess the question is, do they kind of rag on you even about that, or is it hard to get them to open up if you're serving a male group versus female group?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's really hard, especially at first before I could build the trust with them. And it still is for the first time if I get a new veteran, because the first thing they say is they want to know if you're in the service. If you wasn't in the service, they're like, you're not going to understand. You can't understand what I've been through. And then female, and then young. So it's like double whammy, But I think the best thing to do is just keep trying and show them that you're going to keep showing up. And then they do trust after a while. It takes a while, though. But, yeah, I've heard it all.
So what made you want to get into the field with veterans? Like, was counseling something you always wanted to do, or was that a specific population that you always wanted to work with?
No, actually, I wanted to work with addiction first because I worked with kind of CPS cases. I did parenting classes for 4 years.
All right.
And that's what got me into wanting to do, like, social work stuff. And I wanted to work with that, like, just addiction and counseling. But then I did an internship with veterans, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I fell in love with it. Or
That's
I would have
awesome.
never probably thought about it,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. But I do have an uncle that was a Marine, and he was in Iraq. So it does kind of,
Hit home a little bit.
it does hit home a little bit
Yeah.
for me, yeah, for sure.
So what makes veteran counseling different from traditional therapy?
That's a good question. Because honestly, since I've been a therapist, I've only done veteran therapy.
Okay.
I haven't actually done. I mean, it's confusing because sometimes I get veterans and it's addiction or it's something else, but it's still veterans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's just the difference in the community of the veterans. Like, it's just a different population. I don't know how to really put it into words.
Well, I guess it's, I assume you do CBT and
Yeah.
DBT, stuff like that.
Mainly CBT, yeah.
And really it's just a difference in therapeutic approach, I would think.
I do.
Because
I
it's a
believe
different
that.
population.
Yeah, I think so, and I think
Same goal, same finish line.
it is always, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, kind of piggybacking on something you touched on earlier, because I think it goes with that question you just asked. Breaking through the barrier, right? Like you said, young and
Yeah.
all that. I think that sometimes, I guess the question is, like, what helps you to break through those barriers, or how have you broken through those barriers? Because, like you said, it's a particular type of community. And, it's like if you're out, and then once you're in, you're in. So how have you kind of broken through that barrier with people?
I think just mainly consistency and showing up and, not missing. Like, I don't miss appointments. It would have to be a lot for me to miss, and that's because I think with the veteran population, and I don't know if this was with others, but it would probably be more lenient with other populations, is you have to show up, like, all the time.
Oh, they're going to hold you accountable.
They're going to hold you accountable because
they're
that's
so
how
used
they're
to it.
trained.
Yeah.
And if you can't level up with that, then they're not going to respect you. So I've had to do that, and it's taught me a lot, really, about just life, and they've taught me so much, really.
How do combat versus non-combat experiences differ in impact? What does that look like for you? Because I imagine, it probably took you a while to gain that trust for them to, open up on and expand on
Right.
those experiences.
Right.
But once, you got over the hurdle, so to speak, how did you see a difference between those who didn't see combat and those who did?
Yeah, for sure. I could see a difference. But there are some that still have PTSD from something that happened outside of combat. That does happen, but there is a difference. And the hypervigilance for somebody
Yeah.
that was in combat. I mean, I have worked with Vietnam guys that you drop a pin and they jump still at 76 years old. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
this has been years.
Wow.
So there's a difference. The hypervigilance is heightened with a combat veteran.
Man.
Yeah.
Without revealing too much, staying right there. So you said that, there's stuff that they experience outside of training, because everybody thinks that if a vet comes to you for any type of therapy, they're doing it because of something that happened during combat. Is there like a story or something you could share with us, or, example you can give us about stuff outside of combat?
I think one of the biggest ones that would be the best example would be military sexual trauma. That definitely happens outside of combat. And that causes PTSD because that's a trauma.
With men and women?
Men and women, yes. Men and women, yeah. And that some of them didn't go to combat. And then some did. I'm not saying it doesn't happen in combat, but that's one that would qualify. And that's a whole different type of treatment, right? Because especially the females, they don't want to see a male counselor. That's a trigger.
Yeah.
So, and for a lot of males with MSTs, that's hard for them to speak about. Very hard. Yeah.
I was gonna say that just sounds like a lot to bear, and then like you said, going to somebody because you're trying to break through that training. It sounds like
Right.
because like you said, they've trained, they've put all their effort, time, and their life into this training, right? And now I think I'm starting to understand a little bit more about the readjustment piece, because now
Right.
you got to break free from that training.
Right.
And how do you even do that? Not just physically, but emotionally.
Right.
So.
And they say this is a saying that my veterans say all the time. They train you and they stick it in your brain, but they don't take it away. And I've had so many veterans say that, and it makes so much sense because they're trained to just go, fight or flight. But then they're supposed to come back home and just walk in a grocery store and get steak for dinner. You know what I mean? Like, think about it.
Yeah.
After being in a war zone for a year, and you just, they walk in there and they're like, oh, I'm supposed to be ready for anything. And people don't understand it. The hypervigilance is, and then a lot of the times, divorce rates are high,
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask
Yeah.
you. With having prior CPS experience, like how does that affect families? Do you dive that deep into their lives, or do
Yeah.
you try to focus on them?
I do dive deep. We actually do family counseling too. I do couples,
That's good.
family and individual. So if I see a veteran and they're eligible, I'm able to see their family and kids. And it does affect them. And what we do too is that part of the readjustment is to help their family understand it. Because a lot of the times they don't want to tell them what they've been through. And we don't have to tell them. We can say, listen, this is normal. Like,
Right.
Because a lot of the spouses just don't. They're like, oh my gosh, he's waking up and almost punching me in the middle of the night. Or actually has.
Oh, wow.
Then they feel really horrible about it, and they didn't mean it. So when you have somebody sitting there telling you as a therapist, like I'm sitting there talking the spouse through it, it helps them a little bit understand. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you more so seen relationships get better with, gaining that understanding of the soldier's perspective, or
Right.
I don't want to say soldier, their loved one's perspective,
Right.
versus relationships falling apart?
If they come into counseling and understand it, yeah, it does get better. I can tell that. And a lot of the guys I have and women I've seen maybe be on their like second marriage, and they didn't do that at first. So they come in, they're like, I have to do this better this time, and try to talk about my feelings more. And that's another thing I think is the males not being able to talk about their feelings.
Yeah, and I ask that because for people on the outside looking in, a lot of people think of veterans as irreparably damaged to
Yeah.
where they, maybe relationships just won't get better. Maybe this is just the way they are and it won't change.
Right.
But I think that that's very good that, you offer that family counseling so everybody can
Right.
be in on it and improve relationships.
Right. Yeah, it's sad because I know a lot of veterans that maybe they have court cases or whatever, and there's been times where they've been treated differently because they have PTSD. So they're, you know, then it makes them have that on their shoulders. They're carrying it around. They're like, oh, I'm so different, you know?
Yeah.
I think I'm curious, and, you know, I don't know if this is something you've thought about or something that you actually do. Do you, I know we care about, or you care for veterans specifically. Do you ever do any type of like caregiver support or just like strictly family support? Or is that an option for you as a therapist?
As in their caregiver?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Okay.
Now, a lot of my veterans end up being caregivers for like their spouses. So I've done like a caregiver support like therapy group.
Okay.
And I do like grief groups. I do different groups like that.
Yeah. I was, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I like that.
Yeah, because I think, you know, I'm also curious as to have you ever had a couple that's both were in service, right? Does that type of counseling look different than say your normal couples counseling? If you have two service members that have been married to each other, or
I actually have not had that. I've not experienced that. Two together, no.
Yeah, I think that'd be interesting.
Now I've had like a veteran and then the spouse be somebody they met overseas. That's actually they're not American, so that's different.
Oh, wow.
Like Philippines, different types. I've had, you know, different cultures, and it's interesting how that's very interesting. I've done couples that way.
Okay.
Yeah. And they have to readjust to our culture.
Yeah, that's a culture shock.
So
right
that's
there.
a culture shock for them. So not only is the person readjusting to civilian life, but they're readjusting to a whole different culture in West Virginia.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
That's a big change right
Yeah,
there.
it is. Yeah. It's interesting, though. A lot of people don't know about that stuff or think about it, but it's here.
I just look at opportunities like that as an opportunity to learn and
Oh, yeah. I love it.
expand your palette, so to speak.
And see how other cultures live and what they've been through. It's really interesting because you'll be more thankful for what we do have here.
Yeah.
Like, I think we complain a lot.
I think that's important in our area because being from a rural area, small town, you know, majority of everybody is closed-minded.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
We're working against ourselves when we do that.
Yeah, we're stuck in it here.
And then
for some reason.
everybody's asking, why is this the way it is? Why won't this change?
Yeah.
And, you know, the answer really is just you kind of got to go out of your way to experience something else. Like, stop being afraid.
Well, and be thankful of the small things.
Right.
I think that's important to me.
Right.
Because I've seen those come here and they're so thankful for like little things. And I'm like, we take everything for granted.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it really puts it in perspective.
For sure. Man, I wanted to ask you about reintegration. What do you have any advice for veterans or even the veterans that you work with reintegrating into civilian workplaces?
That's a tough one too, that they struggle with.
Because a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah.
You know, there's benefits for veterans that come back home and you know they're done with service or whatever, but some of them would like to keep on working. So how's that with them getting back into the civilian workplace?
Go ahead.
That's really hard. I know a lot of them always have struggled getting back to just the workplace because it's just, like I said, they don't know how to regulate that normalcy of just go to work, it's calm, do my job, come home without maybe getting angry a lot. And a lot of them end up needing to be fully kind of disabled to a way, you know, because they can't do it.
Because of the
hypervigilance and just the environments, they can't do it.
Okay.
And that's hard on them, though, to not be able to feel, you know, needed.
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask a question along that. You know, what career paths do you normally see veterans take, if you can speak on that a little bit?
A lot of police jobs or like security jobs or things like they're used to that training.
Yeah.
But that's even can be harder on them because it's still the constant there's traumas there and reminders but that's where they feel normal.
It's that familiarity.
And that makes more sense to them.
Yeah.
I think they would do better in that type of job than just going and sitting in an office. To be honest, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's a different type of tired right there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of them go work at the VA hospital and things like that, where veteran-centered places
Yeah.
where they understand.
Where you can get around your community.
Yes, that's a big one.
Man, so for the hypervigilance part of it, do you have grounding techniques that you use in your groups?
Yeah, I do. There's all kinds of grounding techniques. My favorite one, and they look at me like I'm crazy, but they're to the point now they trust me. I'm like, feel the ground with your feet. It works. I'm not kidding.
Touch grass, man.
Touch grass. I don't care if it's snowing, it's panic attacks, anything like that. Or breathing is huge. Like the box breaths, or like just try to breathe in and out when you're feeling that way. But
man, I heard that one. Her name is leaving me right now, but she was when I was counseling.
Yeah.
Around 3-4 years ago, I had a coworker. She said that what she used to do was when it was snowing outside, like in the colder months, she would have them go out and just like stick their face in the snow, or maybe like get a bucket of water, of ice water, and just dive in that.
It works.
And she said it like helps like shut your brain off, like if you have racing thoughts,
right,
and you're not thinking about anything but
that moment.
Yeah.
What's in that moment? It does work. In like a panic attack, if they're having like sour candy, gum, something to just put your mind straight to what that shock is, or cold.
Stimulation.
Something stimulating. I mean, even if you have to like pinch yourself, like, you know what I mean? Just something to get you back.
I was thinking like somewhere along the lines of like aromatherapy. What, scents?
That's huge. I love that.
Yeah,
That's something I use.
Scents?
I constantly have like eucalyptus, lavender.
Get your stress relief on.
All the time in my office. I constantly have it. It does. I feel like it works. I don't tell them really I have it because they're, I mean, that's the difference I would say in the population too. Probably another population would be like, yeah, let's get the lavender out. They're like, absolutely, you're crazy.
You mentioned certain stuff. They're like,
no, yeah. So I do it in a way like I'll just have it in my office. But I mean, you can make oils and stuff. I know, like there's groups for that do that.
Yeah. What about calisthenics and stuff like that, like yoga and stuff like that?
Yeah, I love that.
Is that something that you guys can do, or have you done it before?
I haven't. I would have to be certified in yoga. I would like to. Now I do hiking. I hike with the veterans every Friday. So
I'm sure they love that.
They love that because the thing about hiking or walking is they don't know they're talking.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to walk in and they're talking and they don't even know it.
Yeah,
so.
That's what I was going to ask. I was like, you mentioned hiking. I was going to say, I bet that just jogs some of the tightness up because,
for sure.
Again, going back to training, they're doing something that, puts them in that mindset. And then next thing you know, they're like, oh, I can actually open up to you a little bit. And then they're like, well, we're not in the quote unquote office setting. So then, this kind of helps you. The way it looks like to me, kind of become part of the group in a sense, because like you said, they don't know they're talking, they don't know they're opening up.
No.
So
I mean, and I think all of us could say that too. Like you go out and take a walk with somebody, you're going to end up talking about something. You know what I mean? And you don't even know you're doing it. Because the office, we got to be honest. I have to be honest. An office space with closed doors, I'm not a veteran, but it makes me nervous.
It probably feels like an interrogation.
Yeah, it's very intimidating. So that's why I've tried to change it up a little bit.
What's your one of your favorite aha moments or success moments you've had in your therapy journey?
Ooh, that's a good one. I had one specifically. I think I worked about a year with this person, and it was one of my hardest ones to get through. And then he ended up doing like all the things that I provided, opening up, hiking, losing weight, talking to me, and it had never been done. And that for me was just, I think that the aha for that with me was consistency. Like you just might take a year, but you just have to keep trying with these, never give up on them. Yeah. That's probably what I learned from that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So wrapping up, what is, to a veteran that might be seeking help out somewhere out there right now, what is one thing you would say to them?
I would say try it out, give it a try. I know a lot of them are just get scared to try, but just ask for help. It's okay. You know, it's male, female, whatever. There's people out there. There's resources to help. And don't give up if that first one doesn't work out, because there's others. That's the thing with therapy too. Sometimes it's not a match. Sometimes you go in and it's like, yeah, this is not the right one, and they quit.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing I always try to tell others. Don't quit.
Yeah, you are not alone.
Yes, no,
Oh,
not at all.
Yeah. Well, Ms. Shrewsberry, we appreciate you coming and checking in with us. This is a very important conversation that needed to be held, and I think it's going to benefit a lot of people in the future.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So definitely appreciate you doing the work that you do. But that's pretty much it for this episode. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, share the video, subscribe to the channel so we can keep bringing you more. Until next time, square business, man.
Square business, square business.